2019. He asked me, could he come back home?
Okay.
I told him that I needed time to think about it, and I had to fast about it.
Okay.
And I think it took me 2 weeks from when to fast and think about it. And I still struggled because I got complacent. I got to the point where I was good. Even though God gave me a promise, I was good. And I told him yes, the end of March.
The end of March. Okay. So beginning of March, he asked to come back home.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 5 years, right?
5 years.
Are you thinking like that? Are you thinking like, oh, this is year 5?
I thought that in January.
Okay.
I thought that in January, but I remember saying to God, you told me 5 years.
Okay.
And God was like, I didn't tell you when in 5 years. So I just left it alone.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, I was like, he do, he don't.
Okay.
It didn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up telling him, April.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up telling him mid-April that it was okay. I actually told him he can come back, sleep in your son's room.
Mm-hmm.
I started to put boundaries. And then the Lord spoke to me and said, if you're taking your husband back, you're taking him back fully.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And when he came back, but it was like he still had that 1 foot out, 1 foot in.
Mm-hmm.
It was even one night she called when he was there, crying. He felt bad and wanted to stay the night with her.
This is the third situation that? Or
No,
the
with
first?
the first one.
Okay.
The third one's still there, but I guess the part about moving and all that, the struggle is still with that one.
Mm-hmm.
But all his feelings for her, not all his feelings, but he just became angry with her.
Okay.
So it was more of an how he felt about her. But she cried because he was leaving her. So I remember he went to stay the night with her. And I remember I was about to go on his jump. And I remember God said, leave it alone. Leave it alone. So when I tell you that God taught me obedience through all of this, he really did. Because it was a lot of times I had to zip my lips.
And that's not typical Keisha.
My favorite, actually throughout this whole journey, was be still and know that I'm God. He would never let me talk. When I say never let me talk, it will come everywhere. Keisha, hush, hush, just hush, basically. So he stayed the night with her. He came back. I remember him saying, I only went because, she was crying and begging me to come over there and this and that. And that next day, he moved everything back in the house.
Okay.
We was going to therapy together then. Learning stuff, this and that. This is April. He's in. Still was something there.
Okay.
Still was a pull. May, June. Still was a pull because he felt like he had to keep some kind of connection because
of the baby.
He started feeling guilt.
Okay.
For what he did to her.
He felt guilt for what he did to the lover?
How he did all this to her, and then he ends up leaving and coming back to his wife. So he started feeling guilt. So he felt like he had to talk to her, and he had to keep communication open, and he had to be there for her if she needed stuff and this and that. And there was a lot of times I said something. Well, there was a lot of times I just prayed about it and left it alone. And as we continued therapy and all of that, God started to do his own thing.
It was nothing Keisha could do.
It was nothing that I could do because I didn't bring him back.
Anyway.
So I just, And I remember he came back April. I remember August. I was like, things were getting better, but she was still that tub. That tub was still there. And I said, are you ready to tell my family that you're back? And then he was like, yeah, I'm ready. But something in me said, nah, don't tell me yet, Keisha. You remember what you did the last time, but I'm still thinking, God told me 5 years. This is it. This is our finale, It took us a long time. It was like right before Christmas 2019 that I actually ended up telling them that he was back. And, they were excited. Time had no pass now, so it was like we was in a pattern, And from there, things just started progressing and slowly getting better. I was able to voice my pain on how I felt about things and all of that. 2020, which, wow, this time goes by so quick. Last year, 2020, COVID hit in February.
So the world shuts down.
The world shuts down. School shuts down.
So now
I'm still working.
Okay.
So Amp and AJ are home. And Amp ended up having to go to work for something. He had going here and there. And he ended up having an anxiety attack, a panic attack, like something was closing in on him in his office. And it was like a death experience or whatever.
And this is new for him too?
This
Has he ever had this? No. So this is new.
This is new.
Where this come from? Okay.
This lasted some months.
Of these panic attacks that he's now having that he hasn't had.
Couldn't sleep. He was just
10 plus years that you've known this man. Okay.
Yeah. So it hit me. That was his journey. He learned to pray, to read his word,
for himself,
to worship. He had to. I was at work. I guided him through it, but everything else became him. That man wakes up every morning now with that devotional before he goes to work. Yes. He prays every night before his head hit that pillow. You know, he still has his journey. He's not perfect. You know, he's ready. He's ready to step back in the churches whenever, you know, but that was between him and God. So COVID happened, but a blessing came out of that with us. I got boundaries set between him and his baby mama. My stepson is now 3, and I'm like his best friend.
It's the best thing that happened here.
You know, he's the best thing that happened to our family, believe it or not. And we're just on a new journey. We're on a new journey, 2021. So, yeah, I would do it all over again.
You would do it all over again.
It was hurt. It was the best hurt ever.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Because what God brought out of it, I can't explain. And I can only give credit to God because, like I said, I did that journey on my own. I didn't want no help from anybody because I was getting confused by all these voices in my head. You do this, you do this, you do this. And I had to do it. And people saw me that I didn't even know. People was looking. And I always heard people say, people are looking. People was looking. My husband was the main person that was looking because he wanted to really know that I had changed. He wanted to really know that change was in me, but he also got to see who God was because I didn't need a dime from him. God provided everything and more that we needed. God had me taking care of my estranged husband. God had me taking care of his son that he had from another woman while she's out working and traveling. I'm taking care of her son. And I remember when I found out she was pregnant, God told me, I want you to pray for that little boy because he's going to die. I've had so many death dreams of him. Yeah. But God. And I just say, you know, when people ask me for advice, I say, you don't want to hear it now because you're broken, but my only answer is God.
Yeah.
Because
it sounds cliche, but
it's real. And it wasn't me and God at the beginning of this. It was me and my friends and trying to do it on my own, but I was either going to be bitter or better. You know, and I've met a lot of people throughout the journey of going through it that was going through the same thing. And all of our situations happened different. One friend got a divorce and remarried. One got a divorce and now she's dating her husband that she divorced. So it happened different for everybody. Even women in the church that were going through that, more experienced marriages and relationships, I was guiding them. I was the one that was their motivation. I was covering them and their family in prayers like it was crazy. Yeah. So God used me in my brokenness and I wasn't stubborn about it.
Okay. You went with it.
I wanted to be used. Yeah.
Oh,
even though I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But God used me. God used me for single people. He used me for marriage. He just used me. And it was just amazing. Your ministry was birthed out of this pain. It was amazing. And it's so funny because when my husband heard me pray, he's like, oh my God, I know the heavens are shaking.
Who is this?
Yeah. You know, and my son, he's so full of wisdom. And I could be praying for somebody, AJ come right there and put his hand on him and be in agreement. Like, you know, this was a journey for both of us. He learned how to forgive. AJ, my son, learned how to forgive through this.
So
he hated his dad. Yeah. He hated that baby. He just hated, he didn't understand why I had peace and how I had peace. But I would continue to encourage him, I never talked about his dad bad. I let my son see me cry. I let him see my hurt. I talked to him. I confided in him because I needed him to see what God was able to do. He was on that journey with me. I couldn't hide that from him. And we grew together, and he got it. He understood it. And his relationship with God is amazing. Mm-hmm. So this helped us both.
It had to happen.
It had all
three of y'all, not just you two.
Mm-hmm.
All three of y'all.
It had to happen. It had to happen. It just did, because just thinking about that diary, like I was lost
in a marriage for years.
I was lost in general.
Okay.
I was lost.
Not even the marriage.
Yeah, I was lost. But you know, when you're young, you're a teenager, you don't really care because nothing ain't really going on. But then I got in this marriage, and then I became a mother, and I noticed it more and more and more. And I'm journaling it. I guess the words was just coming on paper, but it wasn't hitting me in my head that just a lost soul that needed saving. And I would even say, I said, God, I'm fasting and I'm praying, but something is missing. All this is in my journal. Like, where'd that come from? You know?
The relationship was missing.
It was God in general that was missing. It was just, it was him in general. I could say God. I could say, oh, I go to church, but it was just everything about God that was missing in my life. And I tell my husband until this day, I love you a lot. But it's only one person that I really need. Only one person.
So now you need somebody. Keisha never needed nothing.
You're right. Yeah. No, I need some. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So then what is your advice to single women then? Single, because we don't have the marriage or the kids, or maybe we do have the kids, but in our singleness, what is your advice to single women and men? What's your advice to single people?
To be honest, get to know yourself. Get to know who you are first. All of that brokenness that you went through young, don't bring it into no relationship, because it eventually catches up with us. I didn't have my dad. I looked to my husband for that, not even knowing that I was trying to get this man to fill a void from my father. I even went back and apologized to my I even went back during this journey and told my dad I forgive him for not being there for me. But I don't want to deal with him
for not being there.
Yes, I forgive him. I forgive him, and I left it at that. No envy, no nothing. But I forgive him. But I should have got to know myself before getting into something with somebody. And he needed help too from his childhood. But that wasn't something that we did. We jumped into a relationship. Oh, we in love. Now we're married, so I guess you're supposed to have kids. Not knowing who Anthony was, not knowing who Keisha was. It just caused nothing but chaos. So you got to know who you are, because if you come into something broken and then you meet this person and they're broken and nobody's talking about this brokenness, that brokenness is just going to crumble. You know, it's just not, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. I mean, marriage is marriage. God honors marriage. And these days, unfortunately, a lot of people don't. But I'm grateful for the journey because I was young. You know, people hear, oh, you've been married 17 years. So the first thing they think is, oh, no, I got married at 20 years old. I was a baby. You know, so I went through this at a young age. So it ain't even got nothing to do with, oh, you old. No,
y'all been in this for so long.
Yeah, we're young. We're young, and we did what young people did, and we made the mistakes like young people did, and we still learn. I mean, I'm in my 30s. I'm still learning. I missed my 30th birthday with my husband. I mean, come on, like for real. You know, I missed my 30. I missed 5 birthdays, 5 anniversaries, 5 everything that I cannot get back, but it is what it is. I remember the first year he left, he gave me a Valentine's card that says, I love you as my son's mother, but that's about it.
Whoa, he wrote that in the card? It's your husband.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I don't feel bad about what's happening. I just feel sorry that you're crying. Yeah.
This your husband?
Yeah. We were never meant to be together.
He said y'all were never meant to be together.
Yeah. We only got together because you said you didn't want to have sex before marriage.
This is everything he's telling you.
Yeah. We're total opposite. We don't. Yeah. I never loved you. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Where's he? Well, that's another. I can talk to him. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you know what that meant to be? Do you feel like you guys are meant to be?
Do I feel like we were meant to be? No.
No, you don't feel like you were meant to be?
No.
Whoa. Speak on that, because Disney tell us there's the one, and we're princess, and we're
well, I don't
and
worship Disney.
but when you find the one, you're gonna know, and this is the one.
We're not. We're soulmates, but there's a difference from us being meant to be. I think we.
Ooh, speak on it.
I think when we met,
Mm-hmm.
we were total opposites.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't attracted to him. It was on a whim with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
That took time for us to even get into a relationship, and then it just went somewhere from there. We grew on each other, so we did get married,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course you're married, so you have a kid. But no, we were just two different people, opposite people. We like different things. We like to be with different people. Like no. And then through our journey, we found that's when we really got to know that
This
we're
is my
soulmates.
soulmate. Okay.
Yeah, we are for each other. This is nobody else.
This is really, it's God ordained. It was God ordained. God ordained.
Yeah, it's God ordained, but the way we feel about each other now.
Okay.
Like we're in love.
Okay.
We loved each other then.
Hmm.
We loved each other. There was this love that grew through our marriage. Now there's a love that's inseparable.
That's nice. Could you speak on the one then? What do you have to say to people that say the one? Like,
I hear a lot of people say, I even have coworkers that say, you just know when that person
what is
is
this?
one. You don't know.
So you're saying you don't know.
We both knew that we were just total. It was just we wasn't. Like I said, two single people. Friend told him I wanted to talk to him. She came back and told me he wanted to talk to me. We ended up calling each other, going on a date. We just knew it wasn't. But I guess we just. I don't know. I noticed he was a nice guy, and we just started going on dates and stuff, and probably grew on each other, but we didn't grow like in the sense of.
It wasn't. No, I looked at him was like, "This is my husband," and he looked at you and said, "This is my wife."
No, not at all. But there was love there. There was love.
That's what grows.
But it wasn't that. It just wasn't that love. Like, oh my God, like this is everything.
I see.
No, not at all.
Do you believe the honor, because marriage is really honored by God? Do you believe that's what brought y'all to this thing? The honor in the marriage?
No.
Okay.
I think AJ. Is what made us fight. Our son. If we didn't have him, we both would have gave up.
Okay, so you guys fought for your son
because of our son.
Okay.
We did not want him to have what we had growing up.
Okay.
Neither one of us had our fathers. Our mothers were married, but they weren't married to our dads. So we was determined. We even talked about it that we was going to raise our child different. Okay. So that's why we stuck it out so long before we actually separated. Okay. And while my husband's heart was breaking, it wasn't breaking for the marriage, it was breaking for AJ.
Wow. This man was really over you. He was sick of you.
I had burned every bridge with him.
Wow.
But my heart was breaking for him because I would say a couple years before the separation, my heart started to change. Okay, so I started to feel more into him and more.
And y'all already married by now.
Yeah, I started to see, my mom. I was getting older, I guess, and reality finally hit. So even when we separated and we needed our space, and he told me he was to come back, I was like, but things was going good,
Right,
but yeah, but I had to burn so many bridges along the way. He was just done.
And God had to do something to you. He had to change Keisha.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because I probably would have made that man catch a heart attack by now. Or he probably would have killed me by now. I mean, it's the truth. It is definitely the truth. So we needed it. We needed everything. I don't regret none of it. It hurt so bad. And now sometimes I still sit in awe, like, oh my God, I can't believe God brought this man back. I'm still like, I cannot believe everything we've been through. This man is actually home. Like, he's sleeping next to me. Like, I still feel that way. And I still wake up thanking God every day about it because He gave me a different husband. He gave my husband a different wife. He gave us a different family. He created something different, and My husband will tell you until this day, I'm the best thing that ever happened to him. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What that Valentine's Day card when he wrote all that?
I know, right?
You don't remember when you said that stuff, will you?
All of that stuff
Yeah,
away.
get all that old
I
stuff
threw
out.
all of that
Yeah.
stuff away, and I think one day he made me upset about something, and Lord forgive me, I'm still asking for forgiveness for that. And I was like, well, you can leave. And he was like, I'm not going anywhere. I already told you that I'm never leaving.
Okay.
Now,
this is
you-
recent now. You
yeah.
still
Now,
telling him to
you
leave.
feel like you want to go. You can
Right. You
go.
can leave.
He was like, but I told you when I came back in that door, I was never leaving again. He was like, we died together. And I'm like, oh, God.
You gonna stop with that? You can leave. Be still, Keisha. Shut your mouth. Shut
I'm
up.
stuck with this man, but it's an adjustment because I didn't just get my husband back. You know, he came back with baggage.
Yeah.
You know, so I have to deal with a baby mama and I have to deal with a toddler, you know. It's not that I regret the kid. It's just different now, you know. It ain't just me, him, and AJ. So I'm gotta adjust to there is another woman, you know. But I make the shots. I call all the shots.
Right.
You know?
Are you at peace with that? Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
Okay, good.
Very, very much. And that was, you know, I struggled with that for some time, but I let God handle that, and He dealt with my husband on his own, and he would even come and he would say, you know what, Keisha, this don't feel right. I shouldn't be doing this like this. I should, like God would have his own moments with him, and it just worked out. Yeah.
So what's your advice to married couples then? To married couples going through this, what's your advice to married couples? To the non-believer, what's your advice to people that's going through this? Because you know everybody say divorce, like find your happiness.
Everybody does say divorce.
Leave divorce. Like why are you going through this?
And I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
God honors marriage, but God don't tell everybody the same thing.
Okay, that's good.
He doesn't. What He tells me, He may not tell the next person. Like I said, I had two other friends going through the same thing. 3 other friends. One of them, he told them to wait. He didn't tell her how long. One of them, the husband ended up divorcing her, and one of them, she divorced her husband. She said that God showed her it was time. She had peace with it, and now she's remarried. So I don't know, God honors marriage, but I feel like if you're going to seek God, you got to really listen. Okay. You got to really know, because yes, God hates divorce, but sometimes divorce can lead to something else. Sometimes you probably have to divorce to get restored. I know a couple like that divorced, and that was their only way of detaching from each other to find themselves and come right back together. I'm not against divorce.
Okay.
I'm not against divorce because certain situations do call for it.
Okay.
But I feel like if you're going to divorce, you should do what's right after that. No, don't just jump into something now because you're divorced, because there was a reason why you got divorced. So something need to be worked on, whether it's in you, in your life, and there's still something there that is not right. And you don't want to bring that into the next relationship or into the next marriage. But I love marriage, so I wouldn't want someone to get divorced. I love marriage. I think marriage is worth the fight. If you're not being physically abused, I think marriage is worth it.
It's the fight.
You know, it's 2 souls that made a vow to each other. And if that person ain't beating you over your head, fight for your marriage. Because people do change. I had what people call the perfect husband. But my perfect husband never got out there and explored the world. You know, so he had to get out there and see what was out there for himself. You know, and how many times we ended up in the lawyer's office? And God blocked it each and every time from those papers getting finalized. I think marriage is so sacred. I think marriage is so beautiful. And you just got to be sure when you get into marriage that you're getting into it for the right reasons. And that the vows that you're making, you're really going to abide by them. You know, the first time somebody make a mistake, oh, we're getting a divorce. No, you got to fight. Marriage is a fight. If you don't have that fight, like Paul says, some people meant to stay single. And some people really are. I have a friend that is 40-something, and no kids, no husband, and she's happy. She's content. So everybody is different. I know that I was meant to be married. I was meant to be somebody's wife. Okay. Like, no doubt about it. I was meant to be somebody's wife. And I'm grateful. Like, grateful. I'm grateful for the fight. It was worth everything to gain what I have now. It was worth everything, and it was hell. Yeah. It was hell. It was hell.
Ooh, and
It
we
was
would do
hell.
it again.
If I had to, yeah. I don't want to,
Okay.
but I know what's gonna come out
Right,
of it.
but we know who God is.
We know who God is, yeah. And even when I go through stuff now, it's like, okay, God, I already know who you is. I already know what you can do. So I'm not even, I don't went through like the worst experience ever. Like, I went through a dead marriage. Basically, my marriage died and had to be resurrected, you know? Like, so I just feel like I can just conquer anything. Like, nothing should be able to shake me.
Okay.
Because that was a lot. You know, and I get everybody mourns different. You know, it takes some people longer than others. I had a friend, took her years and years and years, and she was just angry. She was angry, it probably took her at least 6 years before she could start healing. And she had he divorced after 2 years. Everybody's different. Everybody feels different. You know, the fight is just different for everybody. It's all about what you want.
Okay.
You know, we feel like we can control so much. We can't control anything. God really is the center of everything.
Yeah.
And you know, and when you step in and say, okay, God, I want you to take over this, it gets a little easier and it makes you feel like, okay, I'm safe. Even if I make a mistake, I've given it to God. He understands my mistakes. So I know that he's there. And it's not just me doing it on my own. You know, now God is doing it for me and I just have to listen to what he said, even when it feels stupid. I had to serve my husband food when he came to visit. And he would be mean and snatch the plate and snatch the cup and toss stuff. And he would say, thank you. And I would go in the bathroom and cry. And God would say, get back up and get back out there. And I would say, why are you doing this to me, God? I didn't do nothing wrong. Jesus came to serve.
That's good. That is good. Serve people who didn't want to be served. Oh, come on, Jesus, and show us who you are. That is good.
Yeah. I went through a lot. I went through nothing but straight. And my husband looked like he was living the best life in the world. He was on cloud nine. He was living it up. He was traveling. He was doing everything. He walked in my house every day with a new pair of shoes and a new outfit. Like he was living a dream. But he really wasn't.
Yeah, he really wasn't.
And the whole time my husband was envying my life.
Wow. Look at that. Perception.
He was envying.
Perception is everything.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that is good. But God, it just shows, I guess that shows you the church. The relationship with the church, what it really is. Yeah. That's beautiful. And that's what a marriage is, the relationship with the church. Yeah. How Jesus still loves us.
Yeah,
so you still have to love your husband.
He does.
Through his mess.
And God will show you. He will show you how to do it. He will show you how to do it. And to me, the best example is when you're going through something.
Yeah. Because
it's easy to love when you're not going through something.
Yeah.
But when you're going through something and you are commanded to love this person unconditionally, it's a whole different journey. I had to love a man that was walking out my door every day to go to another family. I had to love a man that cut my medical insurance, made me lose my new car, stopped paying my bills. I had to love a man that told me he never loved me. But God. I had to love a man that told me not to come to his grandmother's funeral because he was bringing his girlfriend. But God. But everything my husband playing, God shut it down each and every time. Each and every time. When I thought it was going well, no. God shut it down. Nothing succeeded for him. Nothing. And until this day, he still says he feels like the baby is a punishment.
You know what? There's consequences to our actions now.
Yes,
God He gonna give us peace and we'll come out different, but there's
he
consequences
always
to
says he
action.
feel like he's a punishment because he's different from AJ. He's a terror. He give you a run for your money.
Consequence for action, yeah.
He always says it, but
so that's the next journey we gotta go through.
Yeah.
God gotta help us with this now.
Yeah.
Or help you really.
And I tell him, I say, God forgive you, but remember we have consequences, you know?
Oh, that is beautiful. That's beautiful. So speak to future Keisha. What's something you would say to future Keisha and her family? What's something you want to leave with them? Future. Hindsight. And so now in future, what would you say to your family? To y'all, the three of y'all.
I would say well done.
Huh.
Well done. I would say you guys conquered what a lot of people can't. You know, I would say, Keisha, you was obedient. And God bless you for it. Continue to grow. Continue to love. Continue to be there for others. Because that's what matters most. And that's what I do now. When somebody need, I detour real quick because you don't know what that cry out for is.
That's good.
And I just want me and my husband to be able to tell our story.
Okay.
You know, I want to get to the point where we're going to tell it together. So people can see the side of the prodigal side. Because that's what he was. You know, see him come out of it. And see what he thinks about everything that happened and where he's at now.
Yeah.
But I think our future is great. I just, it got to be something. We got to do something for God because what He did for us is nothing short of amazing. Nothing short of amazing, and we can't just sit. He has to get the glory. He has to get the glory from all of this. He has to. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited. So for now, you know, we're just growing. Me and my husband still on 2 different levels in our walk. You know, he still had his little thug music going.
Lord ain't finished with him yet. It's still working.
You know, but God dealing with all that. You know,
you had to learn that.
Yeah,
to just let God be. You
Yeah.
can't do nothing, Keisha.
Yeah, he'll get it when it's his time. You know, I had my time. We're good. We're good. I'm not his mother. I'm his wife.
That's good.
I'm not his mother. I was his mother for a really long time.
That is good.
Yeah. Now I'm his wife and I'm his partner.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
And we love it.
Seen big pain, big loss, but still been big blessed. All that cat, big stress. All y'all want big house, big car, big ice, big checks. Man, I wish y'all did.